3 more days left. And then where will you get your melting chocolate? Don't worry. I'll jump in your mouth whenever you're ready. Good morning. I'm Travis Terrell, and welcome to We Are Live.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
It's your shirt.
It's an ocelot.
How do you spell that?
C-E-E-L-O-T-E.
If you're from Norway, you're an ocelot.
I see what you did there.
Copyright Chris Denman. Borrowed to T.J. Miller. He said he's going to use it in Norway. Good morning, everybody. It's Chris Denman, Travis Terrell, winding down the current format. I know Travis is super upset. He's got plans to do, I guess, what are you going to burn pictures every day next week? You're going to burn our jerseys like it never happened?
Oh.
Torch it out of your memory?
No comment.
Okay. We're proud to be here because of Tech Electronics and their wonderful equipment live in Midcoast Studio. We're in Grand Center where one Aunt Chris has her cigarette breaks.
Where is she?
It's Chris Gardner. He's the producer. Hi, Chris.
Garzy. Oh, there he is.
Good morning, gentlemen.
That camera's still having trouble adjusting to the wall that your hair used to cover up back there. The camera's like, man, you can't just throw that on me.
Oh, what's it doing?
Oh, it has trouble. It keeps trying to focus in where your hair would be. I imagine the camera being like, where'd it go?
Yeah, I don't see that, but maybe I'm missing something.
I'm kidding. It's not sentient.
Yeah.
What's happening, Gardner?
Oh, nice. Nice. Good morning, gentlemen, and good morning, Walnuts.
Hello, Nuts.
Mm.
What's good, Walnuts? So I've decided, Gardner, what you and I can do.
I
Our
like
first
this
week away
jersey
from.
burning idea.
You just find.
We were making videos.
I ain't gonna find no Chris Dimon jersey.
Oh, we could burn like pictures of ourselves.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Trumpy bear.
Yeah.
Except then the flag is revealed and that's burning, and then we're all in trouble.
Yeah, that's trouble. But I decided, I think what you and I can do starting next week, because we won't have a show to do, I think we should go to some of our listeners' actual jobs, and we do the show there.
Oh, okay.
Just you two's version
Just you
of the
two,
show.
you just show up, and we kind of continue the show, but do it for each individual audience member we've collected over the last 4 years. So we can technically get it done in 1 week.
I think South City Tone, I think he's doing some mining.
Oh, like inside, like caves and shit?
Maybe. We
Oh,
should just go
I've
there.
always wanted to do.
You've been looking to get into that?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do a show inside a mine. We are live from a mine.
Yeah.
Bonne
Yeah, I'm
Terre-
black, and now I'm gonna get the black lung.
Lung.
Yeah.
Bonne Terre, Missouri's got some mines you could do a show
Think
in.
about doing a Black History Month episode in the mines in South County.
What's up with all the memes that black folks are posting telling mixed folks their month ends this Friday?
Because it's half. It's ignorant, but funny and accurate.
It's your people.
Black Twitter's good, isn't it?
They are good money.
It's mean.
They keep the lights on.
There you go. You can celebrate till 14th.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Sorry, I didn't make the rules.
14th. What about 15th? It's a leap year.
That's a good point.
That's what someone made the point of. It's
Oh.
like, come on, give them the 15th.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Don't do that to him on Valentine's Day.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't
So
want to
you-
break any hearts like that. That's cool.
So you support that.
I don't make the rules.
You just follow him.
You just follow blindly.
I don't follow blindly at all. The law is the law.
If we went by what you went, North Korea'd be running the show right now, partner.
Probably. But then again, who says North Korea would have done a better job?
Okay, here he is. Travis Terrell, everyone.
I'm not here. I'm just saying.
Oh, why'd your voice get so high?
I don't know.
I
'cause
want to chastise him more, but he's the voice of a generation. Like, there better not be another world war, or it's going to be a whole lot of that. Like, I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
Y'all act like we
People
got to
storm the beaches here on the shore. You meet the enemy. They're like, all right, what do you have to say for yourself, America? And you're like, oh, what you got, man?
Black Twitter don't meme him to death.
Look here, man. Y'all about to realize in the next 10 months, I guess now 9 months, we ain't got to say in this shit. Black people just, what, y'all gonna listen to us? Nah. We're gonna outvote someone. We're gonna be the group of people to vote Vote out the bad, bring back democracy. No, it's on y'all. So we just sitting back. North Korea show up tomorrow. We be like, all right, what's good? Y'all act like we gonna raise up arms and go after North Korea if they show up in South Beach next week. No, we're gonna be like, what that looking like? Y'all gonna get them? Y'all not? All right, well, shit. Let me go to my Rosetta Stone, learn some Korean. That's cool. Y'all don't want. There's nothing we can do.
You'll turn against me, wouldn't you?
If they tell me to and they take over, yes.
Would you kill me?
I wouldn't kill you.
What if you had to kill me to stay alive?
I wouldn't do that to you.
It would be much like the
I'm
scene.
like, Gardner, run. And I do a modest mouth bit. And
You'll try and get someone else to kill me instead of you having to do it.
No,
because you're a coward.
I'm a coward, so I
Just
wouldn't
kill
end up in
me.
that situation.
What if I said kill me?
How much you paying?
I'm not paying. I'm giving you your life.
I ain't got time for that, man. I ain't got time for all that.
Oh,
I'm just saying,
100, huh?
if no, I am, because if North Korea showed up tomorrow, y'all act like we blacks, minorities, will now have we should stop them. Why? What? No. This is the part where you guys have to realize this is on y'all.
Travis would be the part of the Nazi soldier, and you would be Adam Goldberg in Saving Private Ryan.
I never saw Saving Private Ryan.
You piece of shit.
Yeah.
I got no say in this. Everybody like, y'all laughed at me yesterday.
It's a
Your black ass ain't moving. Your
It's a-
black ass ain't going to another country. And you know what? Deep down inside, you're probably right. So what else? I ain't got no choice but to just keep it moving, baby. Ain't nothing I can do or say that's going to make a difference.
It's a reluctant scuffle that you get the feeling that they're both kind of like, and then it turns into a fist fight, and then the German guy's like, I got to drive this bayonet through your heart.
Oh.
And he does it. And you're just like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
That's how it would go.
Oh, that's okay.
No, yeah, I don't.
Sweet release.
Oh,
I don't.
didn't look so sweet.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just build the statue of me. That's all I ask.
You don't need a statue. What?
River to Pear statue.
Okay.
I do need a statue.
Why? Why do you need a statue?
Because I want one.
Okay.
Okay. That's kind of the impetus of everything he
Yeah.
does.
It's pretty simple,
Okay,
Travis.
well, thank you.
I'm not.
Nothing
It's
too-
complicated
I
to
was
some
saying,
make it out.
It wasn't deep at all. Was not deep at all.
Speaking of Black history, this is from the Black Sheep. Happy Lincoln Day. We in Missouri honor Lincoln for his efforts to stop slavery, work without pay, by getting paid to not work on a holiday only 4 states celebrate.
More importantly, happy birthday, Mom.
Much more importantly,
Sorry, Travis.
happy birthday,
Oh, that's
Gardner's
fine.
mom.
Can we get a camera shot? Can I wish her happy birthday?
You
wanna
wouldn't-
wish my
you
mom a
control the
happy birthday?
camera. I don't know if you want to do that.
What could go wrong?
You'll see.
Hello, Gardner's mom. Waking up bright and early, looking as fine as you do. Enjoy your birthday, baby girl. You deserve it, especially after seeing your son.
I love that that's your closer.
Okay. Watch yourself. Because
Yeah.
I was going to show a clip of it to my dad.
Oh no, your dad scares me to death.
He scared all my friends growing up.
Yeah, your dad, because he's literally the real life version of the McAllister's next door neighbor from Home Alone.
Like Heart of Gold, but intimidating.
Yeah, just like the big guy with the huge shovel, incredibly intimidating. You got all these stories of lore about, chopping up bodies and strangers he's met on the road. And when I see your father, I immediately understand why those kids in that movie were incredibly afraid
He
of
wouldn't hurt you, though.
He would not, but
What
he-
you would do is you would be disappointed in yourself. He would talk to you and you would feel.
Oh, so he'll be a white version of my father.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a doctor in front of his name too?
No.
Freaking Gardner's dad was a bodybuilder.
My dad.
Come
And a
on.
marathon runner, apparently.
Yes.
My
He's
dad has
literally
a
an Iron
name-
Man. You literally grew up with Iron Man.
My dad has a name that sounds like a black man. Like his full name,
What is his full name?
William Leon Gardner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Billy Leon?
Yeah.
Don't call him Billy.
Am I
Whatever
Billy
you do.
Lee?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, don't do.
not Billy Lee. I've been knowing Billy Lee Gardner, boy. He been on Fairground since 78. He does sound like,
Yeah.
my. I
William
may have to
Leon
make that a character in a story I write. They can black as hell. Man, I don't know the authenticity of the name William Leon. Really
Yeah.
got me. William Leon Gardner. That's
Yeah.
That's a boss ass name.
Uh huh.
That's a boss ass name. Yeah, that's a you have a name like that. You are an intimidating son of a bitch. You are a pretty.
It's funny too, and he'll say it very seriously. He's like, and I can't remember which aunt of his it was. He always says, "Only Aunt so and so ever called me Billy."
Yeah, that's a man with an origin story that you don't necessarily want to dive too deep into. I don't think you want to
But
see
yeah,
that. Yeah,
William Leon Gardner.
that's a name. That's a
But-
name. Like,
But happy birthday, Michelle.
ah,
I hope she's not watching.
what are you doing to celebrate?
I don't know that we're doing anything really. We're going to. I'm actually going to meet up with her later on this afternoon.
I thought it was her birthday.
Yeah,
Why would you disappoint her like that?
yeah. She called. She wanted to.
Hmm.
But we'll probably do a. My little brother just had his birthday, and my grandpa, Evans too. So we're probably going to do. Normally, what we do is sometime in February, a dinner.
Okay.
Go to
Understandable.
Handel's in North County, and get some steak.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's a good place.
I don't have a really smooth transition for this because it was kind of a scary moment last
Still,
night.
your other transition still works.
Okay. Psh,
Eh,
man.
Clear the room and go.
Scary moment last night during the Blues and Anaheim Ducks game as Blues defenseman Jay Bouwmeester was hit along the boards, returned to the bench, and apparently suffered a cardiac incident and collapsed as he sat on the bench during the first period of the team's game against the Ducks on Tuesday night. The game was postponed with 7:50 to go in the first period. This is according to this is out of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch with 7:50 remaining in the first. Jay Bouwmeester suffered a cardiac episode and collapsed on our bench after completing his shift. This is according to Doug Armstrong, the general manager. Thankfully, with the quick response of our medical trainers, Anaheim medical trainers, and their team physicians, they were able to stabilize Jay. He was alert and moving all of his extremities as he was transported to UC Irvine Medical Center. Currently, Jay is conscious and alert as he undergoes further testing by Anaheim physicians. We will update Jay's condition on Wednesday morning, and NHL announced they will pick a time in the future to reschedule the game, but that's not necessarily important. It was a scary moment. And I was a little bit frustrated at first because I wasn't getting a ton of information about what was happening. But I look back on it, I go, well, that's actually well done by everybody who generally covers the Blues because they were all waiting on information and they didn't want to put something out there without it actually all being confirmed. So I appreciate everybody showing the proper restraint because that was an incredibly scary moment. And Gardner, you pointed this out in our group text. Apparently it is the father's road trip.
Yeah, the dad's trip.
The dad's trip, while the fathers of the players, they go on the road with the team when they go on the road. I think they're on the West Coast for the next 3 or 4 games, if I understand it correctly. And so, yeah, so I can only imagine how scary of a moment that was for Jay Bouwmeester's father, who
Who apparently rode with him.
rode with him to the
In the
hospital.
ambulance, yeah.
They had to apparently use the paddles. It was a serious cardiac incident where they had to revive him. So, yeah, it was a very scary moment. Could have gone left very quickly. Thank God it did not. I thought it was responsible not only of the people covering the Blues and covering the NHL, but I thought it was very responsible of the Anaheim Ducks and the NHL and the Blues, of course, for postponing the game. I don't think it's fair to ask teams, especially the Blues players,
When
to
you don't
play
know what's
after you
going
while you
on.
don't know what's going on, especially after a guy was literally at one point, someone said he was trying to get the attention of medical staff. So that was one thing. So it looks like he's fine as of the moment. Looking like that they have it all under control, but definitely a scary moment for Jay Bouwmeester.
Yeah, you wonder if it was a singular event, why it happened, or if if it could be something more chronic.
Jeez.
So you're hopeful that it's something that could be managed, whatever's happened here.
So he's 36. He's in excellent shape. Hopefully, it's just like a random thing. I don't know. Do you seriously contemplate retirement? I guess it all depends on the prognosis.
I think
right?
it's too early to think about
Yeah.
anything else. I think at this point, I think he just wants to try to make sure it's nothing that will happen again in general or something that he has to look after going forward with the rest of his life. But yeah, I don't know. I think in this moment, I think he's just thankful to. I'm sure he wants to be around his family, his wife and kids. I'm sure he was. I think that's just the blessing that his father was right there by his side. Who else? Who best to have by your side during that moment than a family member, than a parent? So I think for him, he's just yeah. Let me just make it through the week and let's go from there. But
It
yeah, that's
just
definitely a
depends
scary
on
moment.
what the diagnosis is. I would guess.
Chris Pronger, they keep bringing it up how he was literally his heart was stopped in a game against the
Well,
Red Wings.
It
I mean,
skipped a beat.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stopped has been the word said a bunch, but yes, it's which is super scary. He was playing 4 days later,
Yeah.
which that's different. I feel like because it was caused by like an
Because you know
outside
what
object.
did it, why it
Right.
happened, and everything like that.
I think when you have a cardiac event, I don't think we'll see Jay Bomeister for the rest of the year. I mean, that's fairly clear.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Okay, good. So you guys
I mean,
are more
if that
optimistic
is
than
the
I am.
case,
I mean, it just
We have a cardiac event like this. This doesn't. It's not like you using a paddle. You're literally having to
Yeah.
revive someone. That is that something really you want to?
it depends on what it is.
Okay.
I mean, that's
Especially if it was triggered by a physical hit to the upper body.
I mean, I don't know that though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're speculating.
Okay.
no,
like
that doesn't sound like
I
us.
need information to make
Okay.
that decision.
No,
and
I'm-
you would too.
Yeah, I'm speaking in the hypothetical, but I'm just
No,
nice,
it
and
wouldn't be surprising if he was out the rest of the
Yeah,
year.
I wouldn't be. It just depends on what that,
Okay.
how they diagnose it. I guess
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Yeah, definitely scary moment. I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah.
That you don't. Yeah. The city has seen its fair amount of heartbreak when it comes to losing players young in their age, or losing athletes in general. So I'm just very glad that situation turned the right corner. And again, I guess best salutes, shout outs to the Anaheim trainer staff. I think at the Blues,
Yeah,
a lot of
really
officials
stepped up.
said they really jumped into action. They said the arena personnel jumped into action. So they said everybody responded the way
Yeah.
you would hope someone would respond in that situation. That's a blessing because again, so many things can go wrong. And I would imagine even if you are a medical professional inside of that arena, I think the last person you expect to have a cardiac event is one of the players.
Right.
So I would imagine that also was a moment of shock, and that's a lot for them, I would imagine, to have to deal with in that moment. And again, this is what they train for, of course. But even when you train for it, you just never anticipate, oh, shit, on a Tuesday night in Orange County,
It's just because you're
one of the opposing team's players is going to have a cardiac event, and we're going to have to save their life in the arena.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just because you're trained to do, your max weight when you're weightlifting doesn't mean you're always going to want to throw that up. And this is one of those
Yeah.
max things that you're going to deal with in their situation. So great they handle it, and hopefully it was just a super scary one-time thing.
It was weird. And then, like I said, Twitter kind of, I think and I think people literally didn't know what was happening, so no one wanted to truly jump into the speculation game. And I'm glad they didn't. People I follow, like Brendan Schaefer and Cam Jansen, who obviously covers the Blues, former Blue himself. I just saw things like J-Bo and oh no, and I'm just like, I need words. Somebody tell me what's happening. This is kind of freaking me out.
I mean, you alerted me to it. I was watching other stuff at
Mm-hmm.
the time, primary coverage, and I went and watched the video to kind of see what happened. And yeah, I mean, it was just he collapsed.
Collapse, yeah, and that's very, very, very scary stuff. But I'm glad he's much better. And again, I think being around the dads,
I think it was. I mean, too, you saw the players. If you watch the video, you see the players' reaction too. That's what makes it scary
Yes.
initially too.
yes, because those
you
guys
see him
yes.
collapse, and you see them frantic as well.
Yeah, that was tough to
Um,
watch.
That
'Cause those are tough guys.
that adds to the urgency. I mean, one of them is
Yeah.
Vince Dunn, who broke his jaw during the postseason and just was, and then Petrangelo, your captain, doing, they're just waving people over, and there's been other incidents they talked about with cardiac events in hockey, but also in hockey. I mean, think of the times when guys have been cut by skates.
Oh
that You've
Jesus!
seen that
Oh
have
Jesus!
just been,
Yeah, no,
and how
yeah.
quickly
Yeah,
the medical
yeah,
personnel get to. I mean, because there you have to. Hey, we got to stop the bleeding somehow, like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Especially when these guys are getting. I mean, they're getting cut in their neck.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I mean, they gotta. seems with some of these hockey things, they have to they have to be so quick to react.
Got to be able to react, and credit to them and the job that they do. And our first responders don't. And I mean, I'm not even trying to sound like I'm running for office and trying to win some
Well, it's going to
red
sound like that,
districts
isn't it?
in Missouri. But yeah, I am going to sound like that. I am. But no, the first responders sometimes don't get the appreciation that they deserve. It's almost like that they're expected to just be superheroes in and out every night, and
I mean,
and that's kind of what they train for. Essentially,
most of the time you're hanging out chatting with your boys. Like that's 95% of what those people do is maybe check a sprained ankle and hang out and talk. And
but they have to be
at the
prepared
game.
all the time.
That's what I'm. That
Yeah.
makes it more difficult, in my opinion. Because if you're I keep making these dumb analogies, but it's like the way my brain works. It's like, okay, you're super tough, but you never train, you never fight train, you never get into those fights. Then somebody's like, all right, go fight. Like that's a high leverage situation.
Well, even with fighting, you can like, I got to fight in 2 months, so you can work yourself
Well, I'm
up
saying
to
like
that.
they have
Whereas
to mentally be
yeah.
ready the whole time.
And and those guys, and you have to be on your A game every night.
But it seems that it's preparation is the key with
Very
something
much
like
so.
that.
So thank God for the preparation.
Right. Just
And again,
following the rule or following their super strict standards, I'm sure.
Yeah.
By
And
the
it's
book.
and it does come. And again, I think it means, like in a time like this, especially for the players, and as you just pointed out, how they reacted. What better way to have a father's trip? I think you would, in a moment like that, that's so scary and so sudden, so
To have
fragile. It's great to have your father, your
comfort.
parent there.
Yeah.
Yes, have that
Oh,
comfort.
That's a good point.
Because that's just I can't imagine. Seeing Petrangelo's reaction. I mean, again, he's a monster. He's a monster of a human being. You would think he was an Avenger for how huge this man is, one of the toughest people on the planet, and he's just like you see the fear in his eyes. And so I think it's kind of I'm just very happy that he's doing fine.
And then
That was going to be scary.
this comes on the heels of what happened in the dugout at Busch Stadium.
Yeah, with the gentleman having the cardiac arrest
The cameraman.
inside the other cameraman.
Right,
So.
right before Joe Madden was about to announce he was, I'm not going to be here anymore.
And again, that's somebody in the moment who had training, a person who wasn't specifically a member of medical personnel, but because of their training and they knew what to do in that moment, and because of their quick reaction, they saved a
Derek.
life. Yeah,
With Derek Gould. And
Yeah.
then that also led to this offseason, too, where writers got together and a group of them and did some CPR training.
that's awesome.
updated CPR
That's
training.
awesome. That's smart. That's cool. I
So
love it.
It leads to something like that.
I love it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty doggone
Mm-hmm.
cool. And to give Derek Gould the key to the city or something at some point, that man
Whistle.
deserves
He's a
he
former
wants to
whistle slinger, as he likes
okay.
to say. That's a lifeguard.
Oh, okay.
He's on top of it. We need a lifeguard in here. Okay. Where are you taking us?
Well, looks like somebody in Chicago is going to blow the whistle on Mr. Jesse Smollett.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Jesse Smollett, man, you missed Great American Race, didn't you? Man,
I was
timing.
I was thinking that when I
Your
saw
timing, boy. Ooh. Whew. Out of that one.
There was
Yikes.
That could have
Jesse's-
been bad. There was a weird, potentially alleged Conor McGregor video.
Two, that's out there in the world.
That has surfaced.
Oh,
That-
boy.
This
Oh.
would have been a nasty
Yeah.
TR. So I'm glad it ended the way it did.
This is a story that broke on Fox 32 News in Chicago. Jussie Smollett was indicted Tuesday in Chicago by Special Prosecutor Dan Webb, stemming from the alleged racist and anti-gay attack on him that occurred January of a year ago. January 2019, Smollett is due in court February 24th. The criminal court building on 26th in California. Webb, in a statement, that Smollett faces 6 felony counts of disorderly conduct, charges that stem from 4 separate false reports that he gave to police in which he contended he was a victim of a hate crime, knowing that he was not the victim of a crime. Yeah. I think, this is, I think everything in this situation is true. I think this is a situation of a hyper-politicized event. I think Jussie Smollett brought a lot of this on his own. In fact, it may end up being that he brought all of this on his own. This was,
Did we? I mean, Oh wow, it's back.
oh no, oh no, oh no.
Don't
Oh no.
don't tell him about the McGregor video. Technically, he's Irish.
Yeah.
Do we need to? I mean, I gave him as much crap as anybody. I mean, do we need to revisit Justice?
We
I
don't.
mean, Justice
Well,
Smollett?
I think
It's
there's yeah. I think I know where you're going.
It's simple. It's someone that you can make an example of.
It is that. It is definitely that. Now, before you respond, I think I know where you're going to kind of go next. If Jesse Smollett indeed, in fact, made all this up, he needs to
I don't
face the
know.
music.
I don't
Now,
know.
am I saying go to jail for the rest of his life? No, but he needs to pay a severe fine. He definitely, if it comes to find out that he was, for whatever reason, whether it's to stay on the show or to build clout, that he came up with a reason to throw this plan together and pay guys to take the fall, then absolutely there should be some accountability. I don't know if he should spend the rest of his life in jail. Hell, I don't know if he needs to
I don't
spend
think that's
jail
in the
time.
statutes, Travis.
Okay. He can't go to jail for this?
I don't think he can go to jail for the rest of his life.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but then, when I say
Crazy?
that,
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but then it's like you start thinking about like, I don't know. Sometimes people convicted of a form of murder do like 7 years.
right.
Like I don't know.
Right, and that's what I meant by that. When I say if a rapist can't do 3, then Jesse Smollett shouldn't be doing 3 years in prison.
I don't know, he shouldn't even go to. He won't go to prison.
I don't think he should go to prison either. But I'm saying when I say it's hyper politicized, people are going to want to be like, bring down the hammer because he embarrassed the city and the cops, and he's right. I think his representatives are right. This is a hyper politicized moment for this district attorney. You understand why he's bringing this forward. And in doing so, don't let this be a moment where, as you just pointed out, they're trying
Black
to make an
History
example
Month.
of him.
Let him do one less day than Felicity Huffman.
That's fair. Yeah.
There's my offer.
Yeah.
And you just do it in a simple jail.
Yeah.
Just lock up.
Yeah.
Simple lockup.
Yeah.
Get it done with. Let's move on.
Yeah.
It is another unfortunate situation where I don't know what's what. Again, all the evidence,
Well,
or at least
it seems to point that he lied.
it seems to point to that he lied, and it's such a bizarre, unnecessary situation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Why you gotta make it tougher on us, man?
And then he called himself the gay Tupac, and that was just not necessary.
No, yeah.
Wait,
I
are
mean,
you more
life in
bothered
prison
by
for
that?
It was bothersome.
What bothers Black Twitter more, that he says that, or potentially lying? Lying,
The
really.
gay Tupac really.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You're not gonna draw a lot of sympathy when you go that route, are you? You're making it hard for people to
There you
do
go.
so.
You're making it very difficult for people to defend you.
Man, come on, we're trying here.
I don't know. I don't know. I think, yeah, you're right. A lot of this seems like he made this up. Also, Chicago Police Department. So it's Chicago.
What, you sound like a Republican now?
It's Chicago.
You just yell Chicago.
Yeah,
and
that's essentially it.
guns come up in the conversation.
It is, if we're talking a city that,
When'd you turn into Kanye over here?
if we're talking about a city that's
that a red hat?
notorious and well documented for being extremely corrupt.
No,
It's not like I'm going to just immediately take even if this was any other city, I'm
are you
not sure if
talking-
I'll take their word for it. But when it comes to
Wait, are you talking
people
about the police
to take their
department or
word
Or
for
the
it,
politicians.
yes. When it comes to Chicago,
you walking there.
yeah, when you come to Chicago, you just don't take everyone's word for it. So I'm happy to follow the evidence here. I'm not just going to sit up here and say, oh, the Chicago Police Department's exactly right. They got them dead to rights. You lost that benefit of the doubt some decades ago. So, yeah, I would just rather wait till the evidence comes out and let that tell the story.
Well.
Crazy, right?
We'll see how it all shakes out. You got anything else?
You know what else is shaking out?
St. Louis Counseling Services.
There it is,
I
Chris.
saw Chris.
Yeah.
I saw
I
Chris.
was like, I'll pop in here.
Chris was waiting to strike.
St. Louis Counseling. They're in here recording today. stlouiscounseling.org for more information. These fine folks are here to help you in the St. Louis area. Counseling services for all since 1955. Also, the podcast Mental Health Matters, available on all platforms. Tell you though, go to their website, watch it, listen to it there. Great information on mental health and breaking down the stigmas surrounding it. Travis?
Just got a text. I got to call someone, set up an interview for a doorman job.
All
They wanna talk to
right. Ask him, can we do it live on the air?
me. I don't know. I got to
No.
go to the
Can
facility.
Travis and I officiate the interview?
Absolutely not.
Can we commentate on the interview?
You want me to try and record it and bring it to you?
That'd be great.
Please don't. 6 years later, as you're up for head doorman, an audio clip surfaces.
Yeah.
It
We
looks
see
like-
you're on this racist. What is this? A podcast?
Well, this is a separate one than the other one I applied to, which a friend of mine talked to the property manager at the other one. He does business with him, and he also said, hey, give me a call.
Nice.
So it looks like we got two possibilities here right now.
Business is about to pick up.
Oh, man.
Look at you.
The doorman's knocking.
I see you. You're coming up, man. Dreams do come true. Anything is possible.
I got to watch that doorman movie still.
Yeah, you
I
do.
cannot find it.
Mm.
Travis, you need to look for it for me. I don't know if I'm doing something
I
wrong.
feel like I have to go to the dark web to find it. I ain't going no dark web. Not doing Black
Oh.
History Month.
Speaking of movies, did you see, I know it's Blackuary, but a Cocktoberfest Miracle?
What is that?
The French Dispatch, the
God.
first movie
How rude
poster.
is it? How rude is Wes Anderson to announce his white ass movie doing my black ass month,
Oh,
and then have called the French
the
Dispatch?
French Dispatch. And the trailer comes out today. Oh, I think I'm going to like it. All right, we got Tilda Swinton, Frances McDormand, Bill Murray. What am I can't read some of them.
I see Jeffrey Wright's in it.
Jeffrey Wright,
I see
Benicio del Toro,
Toro's in it.
Owen Wilson,
Timothy Chalamet.
Wow.
Adrian Brody.
Wow.
Yeah, those are some of the names there.
Wow.
But during Black History Month,
Here's
Wes
what I love
An-
about Wes Anderson.
a Cocktoberfest miracle.
By the way, I
Friend of the show, Matt Bronger, tweeted, heard Wes Anderson's coming out with a new diorama.
Wes Anderson does a very good job. Like he'll do a movie, like he'll just release the trailer. He's just like, I didn't know Wes Anderson was working on a film.
There you go.
Like he's pretty good at that. He's like, you'll look up like, Wes Anderson's dropping a film. Oh, really? Didn't even know he was
I
working
saw
on
some
one.
stills too.
They look
It's-
good.
It's got that look. That,
He's good. He's
that
got
Wes
a
Anderson
signature
look.
look. Got to give him credit.
And man, I'm
You gonna tune in? You can't wait.
I'm
can
gonna
you?
go see
You gonna go
this.
see that shit? You gonna go straight to?
I'll probably get Sean to go with me.
Probably go straight up to the Chase Park Plaza.
Yeah.
You know they're gonna probably have 3 theaters showing that.
And yeah.
That's gonna be like that's the white Black Panther.
Well,
Wes Anderson. plays-
Frontenac would be the one for that. Yeah, we know Frontenac would definitely be the one. But man, I'll get Sean because we went and saw Moonrise Kingdom together. I
That's really a weird pair to go see a movie about Cub Scouts.
yeah. Well, and then I went with 2 other friends from college, and Sean got there before me, so they had to meet Sean before I even got there to kind of introduce everyone. I walked into that.
In the worst way, I really do want Wes Anderson to do one of his movies, but with an all-black cast. He doesn't understand, like, he's leaving not only money on the table,
Uh-huh.
but he's leaving endless amounts of awards on the table.
With his style.
Yes.
Imagine if that would have dropped during in February, if he were to do something like that.
I think that'd honestly, I think that'd be
Because-
hilarious if he did something quirky with an all-black cast. It would honestly probably be one of the funniest things ever.
Well, see, Danny Glover had a significant role in
Yeah.
the Royal Tenenbaums, so maybe that's your
The
lead.
lead-in.
Yeah, and then you kind of go from there.
Like,
Like-
just
Like Danny Glover's his Black Bill Murray
yes,
in a way
Yes.
for his if he goes a different route. Or we need to find who the Black Wes Anderson is.
low key.
Wesley Johnson.
How funny would it be if like Chappelle ended up in a Wes Anderson film?
Why not?
Well, you know what though? Maybe Chappelle is his Black
lead.
Bill Murray
Yeah,
because comedic background,
yeah.
but then goes into like a little more dry comedy, some darker roles and stuff like that. Maybe that could be the
That could be funny.
Dude, Chappelle was in A Star Is Born. Doesn't get any more Caucasian than that.
That's
Come
pretty
on.
damn Caucasian. That's a lot of
Well, I
Caucasian.
could find
going
more
on. That's a
Caucasian.
lot of
It's Caucasian, but we could find more.
Chappelle also was in what's that movie with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan? You've Got Mail.
Chappelle was in You've Got Mail?
Yeah,
I've
Chappelle
never
was in
seen
You
You've
Got.
Got
He
Mail.
was he was the black best friend in You Got Mail. Let me check that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hope it's Don Cheadle. Oh, I hope you got
No, it
this
wasn't
right.
Don Cheadle. It wasn't Don Cheadle. I would've-
Oh,
Why would you say Don Cheadle, Chris?
'cause
He
it would
wants
be
me to get-
perfect.
He wants me to. He wants me to get my black people confused
Oh God,
doing Black History Month.
man, you can't
I can't
you
miss on
can't
this one.
get
Here we
this
go.
wrong. You can't get this wrong.
It was Dave Chappelle.
Oh God,
90s were good to Dave
My-
Chappelle. You've Got Mail and
my stomach dropped.
Con Air.
Yeah, mine's kind of did too.
I was worried.
I
for
knew
you.
it wasn't Cheadle, but I
No.
also didn't know for sure if it was Chappelle.
I was scared for you.
I knew it
like-
wasn't Cheadle.
Like you were. There was no coming back.
That wasn't. I would have ended. My last show would have been right there.
Yeah, it was. You
I
were
would have
done.
to walk off. That'd have been it. But I wouldn't even made
oh
it to Friday.
my God. Oh,
God.
thank.
Dabney Coleman was in You've Got
Oh
Mail.
my God, I love Dabney Coleman. Cloak and Dagger. Remember, you guys never saw Cloak and Dagger, did you?
No.
Was it War Games with Matthew Broderick? Did you ever see that one?
Yes.
No, that's good. That's
Steve,
got Dabney
Steve
Coleman.
Zahn was in this, guys. You talk about being nice to somebody in the 90s. The 90s were very nice to Steve Zahn.
Yeah. Dabney Coleman, an underrated actor.
I need to watch a Steve Zahn movie again. I used to be able to do a decent Steve Zahn. It's really you're just like, "Rah."
By the way, Tom Hanks couldn't miss in the 90s. Tom Hanks hasn't missed in almost 3 decades.
What was that one where he? Had,
Oh.
When was Turner and Hooch?
I enjoyed Turner. and
It
Hooch.
was what's the movie he did with the Coen brothers? And Marlon Wayans was in it.
White Chicks.
No. Oh,
where
no.
he had the mustache.
Yeah, you don't do this to me again, Gardner.
I was
know what
waiting
you're
for
trying
Chris.
to do. Yeah, I thought Chris was gonna jump in.
I
too.
wasn't gonna-
Raising Arizona.
I wasn't gonna do it. By
Ah!
Fargo.
The lady killers. You son of a
Parker
bitches.
Posey was in You
Yeah,
Got
Parker
Mail?
Posey. I thought Parker Posey was his supposed to be next lady friend. She always plays the Parker Posey always plays the. You're supposed to marry me, but I'm annoying.
Lady Killers, is that is it set in an older time?
I don't know if it was set in an older time. I have to look it up. No, that was a bad Tom Hanks movie. But you can't blame him for giving it a shot.
What's Tom Hanks' worst movie?
May have been the Lady Killers.
Want to see what Rotten Tomatoes says?
I heard some people speculate before that they thought it was Joe versus the volcano.
Yeah, I think so.
That could be it.
That wasn't a good one.
That wasn't.
His Rotten Tomatoes. Oh. Notes from the Field. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Documentary. My Life in Ruins, 2009. Was he in that?
Sure.
What is that?
I don't know.
Was that one where he just like has a small role or something?
I don't know. Has to be like one we could
That's a
recognize.
9%.
I think it has to be one we would.
All right, let's see.
Maybe that is a little more commercial in some way.
Hang on.
I mean, he had a run. Look, man, this guy's-
Elliot, 1980, 22%.
No, we can't count the early work because that's when
He's got to get
you
take
gotta
jobs.
get you gotta get the gig.
When was Joe versus the volcano? What year was that? Is that on that list?
I've got the Money Pit at 45%.
That's pretty high. I thought Money Pit was awful. But
It's
again,
alright.
is that still I'm trying to get on Tom Hanks, or is that
I mean,
I'm on
Splash.
Tom Hanks?
He was in Splash, which is at 90% in 1984.
Okay, so after Splash
Well,
is
then
our
he did
starting
Bachelor,
point.
He did Bachelor Party, 54%. The Man
Yeah.
with One Red Shoe, 47. Volunteers. So yeah, he's still building his
Joe
career.
versus the volcano was a 62, 1990.
Yeah.
Really? So that can't be. So it's got to be the Lady
Yeah,
Killers,
I don't think
right?
that's.
The Bonfire of Vanities. Have you heard?
Oh,
Radio
yeah.
Flyer. I loved Radio Flyer, and
Yeah.
it's a 33%. It was a kid movie.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Rebounded with A League of Their Own. And then Sleep in Seattle, Philadelphia, Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's a 70, huh? Really? Rotten Tomatoes?
It's not that
Really?
great.
Forrest Gump?
It's not.
That's a
that
good
great.
film.
contrarian.
Okay.
That's a good film.
I'm not being a contrarian.
Well, what is
here.
it, Chris?
I mean,
70.
No, it's at least an 80.
no.
It's at least an 80. That's one of the best films of all time.
$330 million thinks different.
Yeah, that's crazy
That's
talk.
not necessarily how you evaluate.
It's great
Unless
performances,
you're a
great
capitalist
writing.
pig and vain.
Even some of the CGI still holds up.
Yeah. You can't just go to the money part.
A
That's when you have
hologram,
no argument.
a hologram for the king. This came out in 2016.
Da Vinci Code.
That was trash.
I like
26%.
I like Da Vinci
Okay.
Code better than Forrest Gump.
Wasn't oh my god. Wasn't Da Vinci Code supposed to be like the next big thing? They did like 3 of them, right?
They did 3. I don't think they were box office
There was
blow
Da
ups.
Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and then one that began with a D, I believe.
Wasn't Inferno in there? Was it
Inferno, that's it.
How
Okay.
about he was the executive producer of Evan Almighty? 23%. Steve Carell.
Yeah, I like Da Vinci Code better than Forrest Gump.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
Forrest Gump, I think, is pretty overrated.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's appropriately rated.
How rude.
Oh, you think it's appropriately rated at 70%? Okay.
Larry Crown. Maybe Larry Crown.
That's the one I'm thinking of, I think.
Larry Crown.
That's set in an older period.
That wasn't set in older period. That was just with him and Julia Roberts.
What am I thinking? What am I thinking Lady Killers is? I can't.
He's dressed like a man from a later period, but I
okay,
think
maybe.
it takes
Okay,
place.
yeah, that's it.
It
Okay.
takes place around our time.
Oh, it's just in the South.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tom
there-
Hanks doesn't have a ton of misses though. I think everyone's gonna have at least 3 to 5, 4 to 6 on their resume if you've
When
acted
you work
long
that
enough.
much,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't even necessarily. I mean, it's not even focusing on the misses. I would just focus on what you did well, right?
And he's
Like
done a
you're-
lot.
You assume that you're going to miss some, so when you're evaluating, it's better to focus on not necessarily the bad beats, or it's the wins, and he's got a ton of them.
The guy also has a great eye.
I wouldn't put Forrest Gump in that win category.
Really? You want to put Forrest Gump in his win category?
I mean, there are better movies than that.
I mean, didn't he win the Academy Award for Forrest Gump?
Yeah, doesn't mean they're right.
So it was a box office critical success, an award-winning film,
Yeah.
and
It's got heart.
It's got heart. It's got humor. It's poignant.
Pop culture.
Pop culture, historical.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little bit of everything. It got sex. Got coke.
AIDS.
Black people.
Yeah.
Black Panthers.
Yeah.
Standing on the balcony while the greatest guitar solo ever plays.
Soundtrack's phenomenal. Heartfelt. Young Haley Joel Osment even makes a cameo at the end.
Did the kid have AIDS?
He
in
did
that?
not. He did no. He did not.
Is he smart?
You got Robin Wright. Oh my God! Come on,
Makes him
Lieutenant
not right.
Dan. Lieutenant Dan. It literally turned into a charity for military people. It is an amazing film that still reverberates to this day.
Yeah, it's a little slow.
Robert Zemeckis. He
Oh.
basically became one of the greatest directors in the industry from that film.
Yeah.
Jamie Moyer's Nancy
There,
Foyer.
let me video a feather. Okay. And,
Good God! Oh wow!
Fancy Foyer agrees. He says Forrest Gump's good, but it's kind of a baby boomer circle jerk.
yeah, it's good.
Boomers don't want to see
It's fine.
AIDS.
I don't want to watch it again.
Boomers don't want to see Black Panthers either.
I don't think
Right.
Forrest Gump's very a rewatchable
Beats the
movie.
shit out of a hippie.
Beats the shit out of it, hippie. I do not love that scene.
Well, just because I cut my hair doesn't mean all of a sudden I want to beat the shit out of hippies.
So you side with people who hit women.
What?
Stuck you in the corner, didn't it?
I
Yeah,
enjoy
really.
that, and I've seen
That
Forrest.
hippie he
Just
beat
'cause
up
you
was
say
beating
yeah
on Jenny.
doesn't make it so.
It does. I'll talk louder if you disagree.
Oh, I've seen that one.
And then, of
that,
course-
that does work.
And then the greatest line, probably in the history of cinema, boy, your mama sure does love your education.
That's the greatest line in the history.
I mean, he's
was it a
banging
game?
Sally Field,
Was it a
and then
game
walks
changer?
out and says, your mama sure does love her education. Come on, what movie has that? And then has the kid go, come on.
It's a funny scene, yeah.
Very good scene.
I just think,
The fact that he taught Elvis how to, come on, that's funny.
it's all right, yeah. I just think it's good. It's a good movie.
Okay.
It's not like one of the best movies of all time. It's not like a top 100 movie.
He's walking into the school, and the black girl's finally being admitted to the school.
I'll hear.
He just starts walking in, waves to the camera. That's a great film.
Black Sheep says when Travis said it had sex, was he referring to Jenny and her? All right,
Oh, hey!
You know what?
Dad.
No.
No, it was not.
I saw a
referring to.
meme. I don't know if I want to mention it. I saw a meme the other day involving
Maybe don't then.
Forrest Gump.
That's not me. That's very troubling. So I'm going to tell
It
you
was
anyway.
like Jenny on the airplane waving by, and it was like,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
okay, you know what I'm talking
No,
about.
it's funny.
Yeah, it said like, bye, Forrest, and something, I'm paraphrasing, like, I'll see you again when I'm like a single mother with AIDS.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh,
Well,
well,
you put it that way.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Started Bubba Gump Shrimp Company.
yeah, I'm aware of all of these things.
Went to the army.
Yeah.
Bear Bryant was in it.
Yeah.
Bear Bryant he was a football. It was a sports movie and a war movie and a political movie. It was like 8 movies in one, and it was so well done.
Yeah, but, Da Vinci Code had Ian McKellen.
Da Vinci Code was terrible.
I like Da Vinci Code.
Terrible movie. That was awful. But the things you do in college for getting with a girl, I literally went to literally see that movie because the girl was hot.
Yeah.
It's the only time, man, the things you do when you're 19, 20.
I just like, if Forrest Gump was on television, I'm not stopping to watch it ever again.
I always stop and watch it.
To me, it's not a rewatchable movie. It's just too
Okay.
long.
It is long, but it's still a good film.
Nah, I don't want to waste my time with that shit. Go reminisce about the world somewhere else. Okay. Go get romantic somewhere else with that. Keep that away from me.
Speaking of boomers,
Yeah.
it's a big win for a big boomer last night in New Hampshire.
Big boomer. Big boomer.
Big boomer Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders.
Am I allowed to vote for him still since I cut my hair? Or do I have to change it?
Man. Now, with your hair the way that it's cut, your
Yeah.
candidate's already out. You would have had to vote for Cory Booker. You have a Cory Booker haircut. Yeah, I know.
I never liked his jeans though.
I'm shocked, Chris, that an older white man from Vermont was able to win in New Hampshire last night. He did edge out Pete
calm down.
Buttigieg. But it looks like we have an official front runner to the Democratic nomination, and his name is Bernard Sanders.
You didn't give him a middle name?
Bernard Rufus Sanders.
Let's see what it actually is.
Um,
I like Rufus though. That sounds
Rufus
good.
pretty solid.
I don't see a middle name for him.
He will get the majority of the delegates, of course. Pete Buttigieg did pretty well as well. I guess the surprise of the night was Amy Klobuchar with her third place finish. My homegirl Elizabeth Warren came in fourth.
Yeah.
But we have
She still has the third most delegates though.
she does. At the moment, it looks like though my prediction for Andrew Yang will come up short.
Why is that?
He has decided to drop out or suspend his campaign, so Andrew Yang is completely done. And there's a guy named I think Michael Bennett or something that was running.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped out officially, right?
I like him too.
Okay.
He's pretty good.
Came from Colorado, am I correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So he's now dropped out. So the field is getting smaller. The girl Tulsi Gabbard brought in, I think, 3%. Good for her.
I think they should keep the field as big as possible so that Trump and his DOJ, I won't say ours, his DOJ it makes it harder for them to target someone in particular.
Right. Right.
That's my strategy
Yeah.
there.
I said this in our group chat. I said, this is Pete Buttigieg. I think, considering for a guy that was mayor, no one knew less than a year ago, he's had a good run in states.
Why
thought
is that, you think?
he's an Indiana guy, Midwestern, boyish looks.
Starting to feel a little weird, right?
The Pete Buttigieg love.
Should he be?
No, I get
Should he
it. The
be toppling these
I look at
people?
the caucus, and I can see why a guy like Pete would resonate. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He's a former vet. He is a vet, excuse me. So, I mean, he has an impressive resume on paper. It's just, unfortunately, when the candidate has to answer questions about their record, they generally expose themselves, especially in areas outside of Iowa and New Hampshire. And so with places like Nevada and South Carolina coming up, I'm just not too sure the viability of Pete Buttigieg, but he's got at least the fundraising behind him,
Yeah.
so he'll definitely be viable. As for Bernie, he's got the momentum, certainly coming off 2016. He's a guy from Vermont, New Hampshire, and he also did well. He made inroads when he went against Hillary 4 years ago, so it makes sense that he would have a bit of an edge there. I thought I would have saw more out of Warren, considering that she's put a lot of groundwork there, good ground, and then of course being from Massachusetts, thought that would help. But Klobuchar was a surprise, but at the same time, she's also a moderate. And so that resonates very well with a lot of folks up in New Hampshire. So it wasn't, and there wasn't too much of a huge surprise last night. Klobuchar's, I think, results will be considered today the big shock to a lot of folks. But like I said, now you got to travel, and you got to travel to some states that are a little bit more diverse, not as completely white. So we'll see how that plays out. Joe Biden looks like he's going to plant his flag in South Carolina. That's where he's going to mount some type of comeback. And I can't blame him. Black people love them some Joe Biden. And as someone pointed out, Roland Martin, I think, pointed out last night, the guys at the top right now, Bernie and Pete, very impressive resumes, capable men. They don't have a ton of African-American support. Biden and Warren does, so they still have room to work.
I don't think Warren has more than Bernie.
I think hers were a little bit higher than Bernie in other states.
Oh, you're talking states in particular.
So, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't think it's anything too crazy last night. I was very happy that they finished in an appropriate hour, 10:30.
You're happy it was a primary and not a
glad it was
caucus.
very much as a primary. So, yeah. Bloomberg didn't place because he wasn't on the ballot. Am I correct?
He was not.
He was not on the ballot.
I think he could have been a write-in though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to see a little bit later with him.
I think to your point we were talking about yesterday about acknowledging that obviously the very first events of the new election season being the caucus in Iowa and of course the primary of New Hampshire wasn't a strong representation of the American voter. I think I actually saw some more stories about that last night.
Yeah.
And to that point I completely agree. So that's why I, for one, if I am Klobuchar, if I am Biden, if I am Warren, by no means am I freaking out at this point. And if I'm Warren and it looks like Bernie's not going to run away with it, or at least it doesn't like he's going to have all the delegates, you're looking at a situation where, well, I'll take my chances at the convention. And I think if you're the Bernie folks, that's the last thing you want.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
If this thing gets to the convention, it's definitely Biden's or Warren's. I think it's likely to be Warren's if it goes to the convention. So if you're Bernie, you're going to have to win a lot of these races.
I don't know, man. I don't think you can allow that to happen.
I'm
Just
saying
you did it once. Look, you did it once. And if you do it again, I mean, you're alienating your own people. You got
it would be the worst case scenario here in February. And mind you, we got some months ago, and a ton can happen in between, and it usually does in politics. But if we're here right now in February, looking out into the summer, that is absolutely the worst case scenario for Democrats. You're right.
You don't want that.
You definitely don't want it to be Bernie and Warren, because that's going to be very to the minds of the casual watcher. Like not even to be funny when I say this, like to Chris is thinking to himself, "Oh, it's Hillary all over again." Mm-hmm. So to many, and the Bernie folks are going to sound the alarm on that as well. So yeah, if anything, it's important that whoever wins this, please win the nomination by a ton of delegates. Yeah. Please have a ton of delegates before we get to, I think, is it in Philly?
Milwaukee.
Okay. Oh, Wisconsin this year. Oh, yeah. So yeah. And that's your primary update. What's next? Nevada?
Nevada, then South Carolina.
And South Carolina.
Or if you're from Missouri, you say Nevada.
Nevada?
Is that Nevada, Missouri, correct?
Yeah. Who has the edge there, you know?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked that far ahead yet.
I do need my girl Warren, though. She's got to get a victory in here somewhere.
I would like that. I mean...
She's got to get a victory. Otherwise, I don't hate Bernie. That's the crazy thing. I call me an ageist.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Ageist after a heart attack.
I understand where people are coming from with
If
that.
he's gonna do it, he's got to. I think if Bernie can nail it down, got to convince Stacey Abrams to be your VP.
That's a hell of a ticket.
That's a hell of a ticket. And that's one.
That's where you've if you do something like that, you would hope you would motivate the young voter that
Yes.
Bernie seems to attract, and also African American and more in particular African American women
Right.
with Stacey Abrams. And at that point, that's ball game.
And I'm not saying that it's in play. Folks down in Georgia though,
Well,
that'd be a nice little state to pick off.
I think if you ended up with that ticket, it clearly is over at that point.
Yeah. And maybe it'll be a situation where a guy like Obama and Michelle come in and they go, all right, guys, it's pretty clear where this is all headed. Stacey, jump on this ticket. I'm going to wrap my arms around all you guys. You got a pretty nice coalition. If you're able to go Bernie, Stacey Abrams, throw the Obamas in the middle, I think that could be enough. Unless Attorney General Barr gets involved, and then it's anybody's.
Or the Russians.
Or the
I mean, there's always that possibility.
We'll get to this next hour, and I'm curious to get your opinion. I'm going to read you this story about the Attorney General, and then I want you to tell me whether or not you think Trump, if he loses in November, will actually leave the White House. Because I think what happened yesterday is a perfect example of why I believe, if he loses in November, that old Don ain't walking out that door easily.
Yeah.
Shall we take a break?
Sure.
Chris Simmons, Travis Farrell, live at Midcoast Studio. We'll be right back.
Hi, Mom.
back to the show. Chris Emmon, Travis Terrell. We are live. Guardian Travis's final 2 shows tomorrow, Friday. Be joined by the great Sean tomorrow for Dogs on Film.
He already called me this morning.
Did he now?
I'm off the hook for today. I'm like, yeah, I tried calling you all day yesterday. My phone's out of minutes. Yeah, I kind of figured. So I had to have his wife tell him.
Okay. I envy Sean's existence.
I do too. It brings me great joy. I
Yeah.
already warned him that he's going to get asked a couple of stories, in particular,
Okay.
leaving his wife in an elevator while he went on a road trip.
Oh,
He
boy.
goes, oh, that time. Because he's left her in an elevator more than once.
Jesus Christ.
Do we have any vodka here?
We do.
We might need to give him a little vodka.
So I kind of just keep him moving.
Yeah. Because he'll be a guy, he'll be a little shy at first, especially if he's on, live and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to loosen him up and make him, comfortable.
Right.
So that's why I think like a little game with him or having him tell a story. Or
Loosen him up.
You just got to prod him. And you don't necessarily have to, like, ask him a long question or anything. It's just kind of, it's even sometimes just staring at him to get him to keep talking. And then it just kind of flows.
If we could play it where that song he loves, I love it. If we could find something to emulate the joy he gets from that song,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
that'd be good pod.
Like, here's what I suggest. Asking him about that song. And then first thing he'll be like, well, what's that? He doesn't even know what it is. He just knows when it comes
you
on.
modest mouth it,
Yeah.
get him in the mood.
And then his head starts doing this. And he can't, when he's about to explode, he rubs his head and just gets up, starts walking around. And
Would you say this is the most excited you've ever been in your broadcast career?
oh, I mean, I'm excited, but also cautiously excited
Uh,
because I try to
Are you gonna
protect him
feel
as
like
well.
Are you gonna feel like Rogan did after he realized he talked Ari Shafir into getting a smartphone?
There's is this after the fact?
Oh yeah, he said that. He goes, "Well, Ari's a psychopath, and
Well,
I shouldn't have
I
told him
guess
he's ready for a phone."
I won't be able to answer that until I know what happens afterwards.
Gotcha.
It's hard to kind of predict or project at this point.
Did Ari Shafir drug Bert Kreischer?
Yeah.
In front of his kids?
His kids were upstairs. I think Bert has a podcast studio in his man cave downstairs.
I watched talk about wormholes.
Oh,
I
he was
saw
legitimately mad for
him and
Yeah,
Tom
that would do
Segura.
it, probably.
Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura in their pod recently, they were talking about the whole Ari Shafir Kobe tweet fallout.
Yeah, Bert's wife ain't forgiven him ever.
No.
She's like the
and-
nicest person.
Yeah, Bert said that, and then Segura, essentially, he talked about how he's had conversations in the past with Ari, and he essentially said how surprised he is Ari doesn't show more of the humanity that he possesses, whether it's in the stand-up or just on his brand personality. And Segura was just wondering out loud why he
Because they said in
chooses
real
to
life
go
he
there.
is so great.
They're not so great, but they're just like he's not that personality that he shows
That's what. Yeah. that's what
online.
were
They
saying.
say he's, like I said, he's a guy that also, drugged Bert Kreischer in front of his children. But he's also
Well, it was during
he
a
does
podcast.
it.
I mean,
but
it wasn't like they were hanging out in his living room. And I'm not taking up for him. I'm just.
but
saying
essentially
it
they were
was-
saying
I'm just getting it. I'm just getting it correct.
I know. It's just
There is a swimming
It's-
pool at the Kreischer house.
it's
I
hard
just,
to properly correct there, and so
Yeah.
Right.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're doing there. Yeah.
but yeah, like because even Tom Segura essentially said, I guess Ari hit him.
So
up
you
like
stop
a
doing
day
We Are Live
afterwards.
with Me and start listening to Segura and Bert's podcast.
This I only looked at this because I was.
Got to fill the time.
Yeah.
I honestly I looked at this
With
only.
a fat white guy.
It was on my YouTube feed, and they're always on there. I never actually stop and watch, and it's because it's played in the office off my account. So when I get home, it's already
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Oh, that's your account.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's fine. It's no big deal.
I
'cause
try,
like
I try and beat you guys to the punch, and I'll throw on just very mindless podcasts, so I don't have to sit and watch you guys stew over whatever's happening on CNN all day. And you guys find the clicker every time.
I
I try and keep it light.
but
We're trying to. Well, I understand.
But no,
We're
it's such-
not.
But no, only reason why I wanted to hear what other comedians were saying
right.
about Ari Shaffir, especially those like Segura and Christ who have actually worked with him, who know him personally. So I just wanted to get a little bit more insight as to his mind frame, as to why he would even go to that length. And Segura even acknowledged that, yeah, he hit me up, like texted me the other day. Like he texted me like a few hours after sending out the tweet or the video appeared, and he's like, "Hey, you see my video?" And Segura goes, "Have you seen the response to your video?" And I guess Shaffir didn't really understand what was taking off. He didn't realize how quickly it took off and how people were all of a sudden like, and Segura was like, "Dude, I don't know if you're paying attention, but people hate you. Like an abnormal amount of people right now want you gone." And so Shaffir, he said literally when he first talked to Shaffir after he put up the post, he had no idea that it was as severe as he thought it turned out to be. So that's the reason why I changed, and it was very interesting to watch. It was incredibly fascinating. But yeah, still fuck Ari Shaffir. Don't show up in the Lou. Just don't do a show. Don't do a show in this city.
Not kidding you.
Don't do a show. Don't do a show in L.A. You need to lay low for about
Not kidding you.
a year.
I looked up his email before this.
Mm-hmm.
Not kidding you. There was a date at a friend of ours' venue that needed filled, and I knew Ari Shaffir was getting ready to tape his special, which has been postponed, I believe. And I knew this venue needed filled, and we do some comedy shows here and there, but whatever. And I thought, okay, who's on tour has not been to St. Louis that could draw in a quick, like if they said, hey, you got 2 weeks, here I'm coming. I literally looked up his email and everything, and I was so close to being like, hey, do you want to come by and do this venue? And I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. And then like a few days later, or maybe it was like a week later, that's whenever all that stuff happened. Can you imagine dealing with that? No thanks.
Almost.
Yeah,
Almost.
that's a headache. Yeah, I don't know if that guy's going to be able to do comedy for the rest of the year at least. Maybe people will forget
think
in
he
the
comes
summer.
back.
I'm sure there'll be people who will still go out and watch the guy, and everybody's about redemption.
I don't
Something
think
that he didn't afford to Kobe, but people will eventually afford to him. But yeah, there'll be an audience for him probably later on down the line. But no, I was just more interested in hearing guys like Segura and what they had to say about it, and they were just like, "Yeah, I'm not defending the guy. The guy's an idiot." The thing that's frustrating to us, people who know him personally, is that that's almost a near 180 up to who he is as a personality. So I don't know, it'd be like that sometimes.
Interesting wormhole.
Yeah. And sometimes, that's one thing why I love YouTube now, is that, you'll see a video and you're like, well, shit, I'm going to watch these other 10.
Yeah.
I have to.
That's the way it's set up, right?
That's beautifully set up that way. So that's become my new internet home. I'll still check in on Twitter from time to time, but I can't. Twitter is too self-important. Too self-important, more than usual. It's now because it's genuinely about the branding now, and I understand that because it's good business. You can make a lot of money by branding yourself on things like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You can make a living off of it. So I get why that's the case now, but everybody thinks they are a viral tweet away from getting a 5-year deal, first look deal with Fox.
Is that you?
Maybe. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't want to sound like I'm
Self-important.
old man. Am I sounding like old man when I say
It's just
self-important? I feel like there are people
someone,
who.
like all of a sudden locks their account and everything.
Well, that's personal.
Oh.
That's personal. That's not me to say, hello, everyone. My life and situation is more important than yours. So now I'm going private. That's personal. That's my cutting my hair and trimming up my beard. That's, you cut the locks. I go lock out my account. Same difference. Yeah? Yeah?
Let's
Okay.
Let's lock down a good time tomorrow night at Sophie's. That's right. Artist and Cocktail Lounge. Look out. Great lineup. Our friend Brandon Taylor making his debut on Happiest Hour. Oh, guess who? Jimmy Day is going to be on the bill, and Kenny Kynes closes it out. Been a while. We haven't ever had this particular lineup before, so it's going to be very fun. Stop by. We've got a wonderful dog available to say hello. Our friends at Stray Paws are bringing that, and STL Pet Working making that happen. And we're excited to present this thanks to Jack Daniels and specials by Schlafly. Yeah, that's right, everybody. Making it happen for you and yours every Thursday, 6 p.m. right here in Grand Center. Stop by. They've been packed. Get there early. You'll get a seat if you get there by 5:30. But 6 o'clock, out of seats, kids. It's been a good time. So keep it going. Happiest hour.
You gave me a look when I said self-importance. Was that too much? I was too old manish.
Oh no, you're.
Oh
fine.
no, you're just a hypocrite.
Yeah, you're fine. Are you thinking about it now?
No, I'm not. I just feel like that
No, you're fine.
there was some tension
No, hey.
behind that
No.
self-important statement.
Oh,
Trev.
You're fine.
Trav,
It's fine.
you're good.
Yeah, you're all right. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
not a big deal.
Don't dwell on it. Don't think about it.
We're not going to talk about it later.
Sons of bitches.
Are you guys surprised at the Battlehawk love? They're predicting. Camo X just put out something this morning. Our friends at Byjack, they've got shirts available, and they're going so fast. Good for them. 10 feet behind us, they make those. Caw-caw. Are you guys surprised? The Camo X just said they might be expecting 28,000 people.
Sounds all right.
That's crazy.
Mardi Gras weekend. First time professional
On a
football's been back
Sunday?
in the St. Louis on a Sunday. You ain't doing shit on Sunday in St. Louis
Mardi
anyway.
Gras. Have you seen how these people act at Mardi Gras?
Yeah, but people just gonna get hyped. Just another day and another excuse to drink. Of course, people will get ready for that game. And
Don't be reasonable and measured.
I'm just saying, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And now the thing is, now if they're able, I would be more impressed if they're able to sustain that over 5 games. Now that's when I would be like, oh shit, St. Louis, you weren't fucking around. You really were about that Battlehawk life. But it's a professional football first time in what, 5 years?
I don't know.
Me neither. I stopped counting too.
Yeah.
But it's been a while.
Sounds about right.
And it's football, and it's new, and it's different, and I expect the first weekend to have a huge crowd. And like I said, I think ultimately, like most cities, the team needs to be competitive. It needs to have quality football. It needs to be somewhat entertaining. I would hope that the Battlehawks have taken the time to create some type of a fan experience. I know they are working. I'm not saying they're going to have a Battlehawk mascot out and there's going to be stages
there
of
a mascot?
concert. I don't know. I hope not.
Better not be
They
a
weren't at
fucking
the
bear.
first one, were they?
I don't know.
A
I don't-
Battlehawk, a
I don't
bear
know.
with feathers on it.
Yeah, I don't know
Wow.
how you would do that. But fact of the matter is,
That'd be the toughest bird.
look, St. Louis has an opportunity to make the most out of this project, this experiment that is the XFL, and 28,000 sounds like that's going to be fun. 28,000, that's going to be fun.
That's a lot of.
You know what?
That's more than half of MLB teams draw.
Look, I am. If they shoot, they talking 28,000, your boy gonna head over there too. I just want to go to.
You'll attend if it's over 25,000.
Well, I'm over if it's going to be people there. I'm not attending if it's going to look like Crestwood Mall.
Well,
there's
that
that
doesn't exist
self-important
anymore.
thing.
It's not that self-important anything. I just want to hang out with a group of people. How is that self-important? I want to hang out with a bunch of people.
wanna be
If it's just
seen?
going to be
You
me,
wanna be
John,
seen?
and a bunch of his British buddies who don't know shit about football, then I'm not going to go do that.
Oh, you don't want to just hang out with friends? You need to be seen by a
I
large
don't need to be
group of
seen by
people?
shit. I just want to go out and hang out with people. As an introvert, I think that's impressive. I think the fact of the matter
You
that
also
for the rest of my
You've also
days.
said you were brave for admitting you were a coward.
I think that's an acknowledgement of a truth.
There's photos, Gardner.
Now that's more accurate.
Gardner, there are professional photos to prove it. Bacchanalian ball 2 weeks ago. I've never seen a more display of marijuana infused introversion than whenever a single.
Stop that stigma, man.
Whenever a single guy.
Stop that stigma, man.
Well, you couldn't get into a strip club on the east side, so we need to take a
No,
look
stop that
inward.
stigma, man. You just being just negative. Every time you say,
No.
you sound like Mr. Wilson every time you talk about marijuana.
No, I don't. I'm just saying.
Mr.
I've
Wilson.
never seen more introversion with a whiff of marijuana than whenever there are 8 beautiful single women hanging out, waiting to talk to the host. And Travis just eating ribs
Talk about
alone.
an exaggeration. There
Eating
was
ribs
no.
alone.
There were I kept the company of some very lovely, lovely women.
I'm sorry, more
And
like
I
10
did not.
women.
And here's the other thing. Look her, man. They are good-looking people
Gardner,
trying
did I do it right?
Did he, so
Sorry,
he,
go
oh, okay. This was all planned. You guys planned this
Beautiful
before.
girls.
Can I
Cool, too.
Can I?
Not annoying.
Did you do it right? You just wait for his reaction, and that answers your question.
I
right?
get
There
too
was
excited.
no reaction. It was literally
Look here,
No,
man.
now you're
having it's because it wasn't even it was having a conversation with adults. Chris thinks just because hot single people are in a room together that the first thing you should do is pull out your dick and start talking to them.
No.
I'm saying that you can have a conversation with people and just
But you
enjoy
didn't.
their company. And that's what I did. I didn't want to overstay my time. I didn't want to sit up there and be in their face for it. It was a 5-hour event. Was I supposed to just be in front of their face for the entire 5 hours?
Save
That's
my
rude.
time. I mean, time really is like a
It's a flat
brand of
circle.
yours
How's that so?
because it's like you're always late.
I wasn't.
Oh,
He won't give you much of it.
yeah. But then, like when you have a guest, you're always concerned about their time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like
Yeah.
your theme is time, but in a
Yeah.
variety of ways.
Yeah, that's how time works.
I don't.
It's a flat circle.
What?
I don't think you're the one who's
I
gonna
say that
explain-
quote all the
No,
time on
you
the
don't
show.
get to do the flat.
I do. Everyone knows that McConaughey quote is mine. I say it. It's what I live by.
What does that mean?
It means, time goes, time comes. You just got to be there just on time for what it does.
For what it does.
For when it does.
You ain't saying nothing but a word.
Thank you, Gardner. No, but that Chris raises an interesting point. I don't want. That's not fair of me to bogard the time of lovely women.
Oh no. We had a crew. And
wasn't
I'm
a
saying
crew.
we had a crew.
We didn't have a crew.
We had 2 professional basketball players hanging out with us.
They weren't hanging out with me.
Because you were alone in a corner.
Dude, first of all, and then here's the other thing that Chris, have you ever been introduced by anybody by Chris? Like Chris doesn't introduce people. Chris is like, oh, that's him. Like, how am I supposed to walk into a situation of strangers and the best introduction you can give is, oh, that's him? Like, he does a terrible job at least even setting you up. You got to come in as, oh, hey, it looks like I'm
You
riding
walked off
Chris's
stage.
coattails.
You walked off stage. You were the cool guy.
I wasn't walking out. It was time for me to go off stage.
But I'm saying you walked off stage and into a group, so you don't need an introduction. You just gave your introduction.
That's also pretentious of me. Did you see me on the stage? Oh, did you see me make that joke on the stage? Hi, how you doing? I'm Travis.
I didn't mean
That's
to.
pretty
so
self-important
pretentious.
right now.
No, that means I'm less self. I'm trying to let you know that I'm not self-important.
Oh.
I'm illustrating that I'm not anyone
I'm
important.
just saying you sounded.
I know.
Your mom ever yell at you for being mean to the pet?
Yes. Oh.
pet?
You
No,
said.
period.
I didn't do anything wrong. I get it. You know what's happening? This is for payback for me saying you can throw a football 75 yards and that I was not
You
there to witness it.
witnessed
This is
many
perfect.
of them.
Okay, I get what's happening here.
Were you
I
there
see
to
what's
witness it?
happening. I heard of the tales and I took his word for it. But like the Chicago Police Department,
What a concerted,
But I see what he's doing now.
Concerted effort of 20 people.
I see what he's doing now.
I mean,
son of a
you just
bitch.
be yourself, Travis, and that's you.
Yeah.
You like shutting down.
I don't like shutting down. I
Well,
do sometimes enjoy shutting down.
I shut down sometimes.
Sometimes I have to shut down because I'm just like, I just want to lay down. It's too much.
So
Is
we're
that
not
because
we're
of the
not
pot?
surprised about. Sorry.
Oh no, I just said, is that because of the pot?
No, it's just sometimes I'm just like, this requires effort. I don't have any in me.
Ah,
You'd think you'd think you were making
get
fun
it.
of his mentally disabled cousin if whatever you say something about weed. I love how he
Yeah,
goes
because
to
you're
that.
the only you react to weed
No,
like a 1965 mom.
No.
who's
no.
Mr. Wilson? What was that? Are you talking about Dennis the Menace?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're just very weed. Like there's a Stephen A. Smith
happen.
weed,
That didn't happen.
you know,
Who was on
marijuana.
weed?
People,
That
we
didn't
have
happen.
events where people,
That didn't happen.
that involves alcohol. Nobody says anything about that.
Is it the sweater? That
It is the stigma, and it is the sweater. Sweater has a lot to do, and he lives in
Oh, Fitzdog.
Tower Grove.
Fitzdog had something to say about this sweater.
There you go.
Bastard.
But I think, but Chris is part of the stigma. He likes
There's
the
no
negative
stigma.
stigma that comes
There's no
along with
stigma.
weed.
He stereotypes.
He's very much stereotypes
but
people.
he self-admits stereotypes.
Yes, this is also true.
What's your weed voice, Chris?
The deal weed voice.
What do you mean, man?
See, you
there
got
it
one-
is.
You got
There
one
it
weed
is.
voice. But I was thinking of this for you, Travis, as we go forward too, in regards to weed. If you could invent your own strand,
Uh-huh.
could you please name it Game Changer?
Oh, there ain't no doubt. Hey, man, what's that right there? Oh, that's that game changer.
So if you ever get that far in your smoke Molly A career,
Thank you.
please come up with a strand and name it Game Changer. I just think that would be cool, and that's on brand for you.
Yeah.
It just popped in my head as we were
Thank
talking
you.
here, and I wanted to get that out before I forgot.
Chris, here's the funny thing. Chris is a great salesman, and he'll be the first person to be lined up outside a recreational marijuana facility
I got no problem
when
with it.
sponsorship blows up.
They
So I'm
don't
just
need
saying,
sponsorship.
it's like, hey man, it's like, so it's funny right now because it's like,
You do have your stereotype
I
voice
do.
too.
Oh, my voice is different. It would who?
I make fun
How
of
do you
people
do
that
this one?
drink. I make fun of fat. See, that's the problem. I make fun of everybody. You get mad whenever people make fun of things that you like because you only
You
attack
don't make
things
fun
you
of
don't like.
everybody. You don't make fun of the stigma of coming along with drinking.
Make fun of Joe Rogan.
Serious?
Make fun of Joe Rogan.
Have you ever done Molly while doing a capoeira kick, sliding into a rear naked choke?
That's a good one.
You haven't lived.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there should never have been talk about him moderating a debate. Unless Marianne Williamson was
Marianne
involved.
was
That
gonna
was
be
the
If you
only
have,
the
if
only
you had
exception.
people, here's what he is good at because he does his thing, and if you don't like it, I can't really defend it because you're right, because you just have to dig what he does. The thing he is very good at is if people talk out of turn, people are physically afraid of him, and he's going to be wittier than 99% of the planet. He's a comic. He will shut shit down. Like if people start getting aggressive towards each other or like shouting, he'll calm them down. He's almost like a good bouncer in a moderating situation. That's what he would be good at, and he'll make people feel stupid about it.
So getting the conversation back on track,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Or when people start yelling at each other and stuff, he'll be, "What are you doing?" He does a good job
That's
with
the
that.
comic in him, I would imagine.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, his timing's always been. He's a comic. He understands it. I don't personally hate Joe Rogan. I just
I
hate
think
what
we
Joe
can pull
Rogan.
50 clips of you saying
Joe Rogan
otherwise.
just what he represents sometimes are just like, oh God,
How was that?
just oh God. It's just fascinating. I don't know. Yeah, I know how I feel about Joe Rogan. I think a lot, and I think what I feel about Joe Rogan is what I feel about a lot of people that aren't fans of. It's not necessarily them. It's how smart or people I thought were smart respond to certain people. So it's people who I know understand reason and right and wrong, how they respond to Rogan. It's people who I know who are reasonable, who know right and wrong, and how they respond to Trump. It's not just specifically the individuals. It's how people
It's
who
the
I thought
reactions they elicit
it's
from
a
others.
react. Yes, and that's the fascinating thing. Trump, obviously, I've seen a Trump-like character before. It's how the real part that really gets me is how people are responding to him. That's what blows me away, because it doesn't feel like the standard is set across for everybody. So, like when Joe Rogan holds a commentator like Stephen A. Smith accountable for A, B, and C, Joe Rogan doesn't do that with anyone else.
That's not true.
That's very true. My thing is, people looked at Joe Rogan sideways when he wanted to jump into MMA commentating, especially for UFC. Here's Stephen A. Smith, a guy who has an extensive background of journalism, a guy that has an extensive broadcast background, more so than what Joe Rogan had when he got into the UFC. And now you're telling me you think Stephen A. doesn't have a voice in this sport? That's not the same.
Did you hear the entire quote?
Yeah, I did.
And then did you hear his follow-up?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
You
I
heard
would say at the end of the day, like I just think certain guys are able to get away with gaslighting than others are. And that kind of is annoying. Shouldn't everybody be allowed to gaslight?
Always.
Well, they're trying.
It's fascinating.
They're trying.
Speaking of gaslighting,
San Diego, what a city.
love it. Oh,
The
really
Gaslight
nice.
District.
Gaslight Square.
We just start naming anything we know. You guys listen to that Gaslight
I
Anthem.
think we could do that for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty impressive if you were able to.
Attorney General William Barr, top Justice Department officials, apparently are going to reduce prosecutors' recommendation sentence based on the president tweet in a in a comment the president
Okay,
made
let's start
yesterday.
this over. Let's
Okay.
start this over. They're going to reduce a sentence. Prosecutor's recommendation,
Right.
right? For who?
Roger Stone. I was
Okay.
getting to that. I wanted to finish my sentence.
Well, it's kind of your lead there.
Okay, Roger Stone. Well, I was gonna say Trump went in front of the cameras yesterday to defend Roger Stone, who was was recommended by prosecutors for 7 to 9 years in prison. The president is responding to Roger Stone's sentencing recommendation, and in response to the president complaining about Roger Stone's sentencing recommendation, the Attorney General of the United States said he will look into it and reconsider the amount of time that was being recommended, to which 4 of the prosecutors who were working on the Roger Stone case decided to resign from the case.
Okay, withdrew from the case.
Withdrew from the case.
One resigned from the Department of Justice.
Completely.
That's-
That
that
I
was
did
my
not know.
understanding.
Oh, it was my understanding just 4 just quit the case. I didn't realize one actually quit the entire Department of
I
Justice.
think that's what I
That's
saw.
crazy. Nevertheless, this, of course, legal scholars across the country almost set their hair on fire. Every legal scholar I follow, at least on Twitter, who work at some of the most reputable legal institutions, law institutions in the country, were flabbergasted that it looks like the level of independence that normally is supposed to be shown from the Department of Justice is now been completely obliterated.
It's been ongoing.
It's been ongoing. It's been a case. This is just another symptom. But I only bring it up because me and Chris have had this conversation for a year now almost about even in this year, in the election, the event to just say whatever candidate that the Democrats nominate, run against Trump and defeats him in November, it is my belief, strongest belief, that this president will not leave office.
Well, then a coup is necessary at that point.
So I'm not going as far as saying coup, but I am going as far as to say
no. Yeah,
and then probably
You
maybe
do
it's
it.
the natural follow-up. All I'm saying is that if Trump loses in November, I don't think it's going to be as peaceful of a transition as we're used to.
okay.
I think he'll do a kicking and screaming fit, but I don't.
You don't
I don't think it would come to a coup.
Yeah.
I think he would.
I
leave.
wouldn't think it would
I don't.
get
I
that
don't.
far.
He's.
get to a coup.
And I'm.
That'd just be outrageous. That'd be the.
And I'm
sa-
not. And I'm not
I'm
saying.
saying
I'm not
if
saying
needed,
you're.
I'm ready.
I want to say that's outrageous.
That's what I'll say.
I'm not saying you're brave if you want to die in the White House because of discrepancies in the law and the way things work, but I think the act drops if he thinks that he's in the line. Of fire,
I don't think
in
it's
the
an
line
act.
of fire.
I think it's a
No,
plan.
no, no.
I think
I
he's
could
got a
see
plan.
him-
I think he's gamed
stirring
this
up
out.
shit.
I think he's absolutely gamed this out.
But don't-
Or they're gaming it out right now. They have gamed it out where
If you're him,
he doesn't leave he doesn't leave on January 20th.
Well, no, but I don't think it would come to a coup. I think you raise hell, get one last rise, and then that next Monday announce that you have a new Fox News like network that's launching. Like, I mean, that's the thing I would see. Like, they're gonna parlay it into whatever they can.
Yeah, if he
Because there is no- what's the
said he
end
wasn't
game?
leaving, then whoever the candidate that were to win I would suggest to them, you take to the stage, make a statement, and say you are through the United States government, you are going to usurp the Southern White House, Mar-a-Lago, and take that over as your new White House. All right, you keep that one.
Yeah.
I was going to take the other one.
What if somebody as soon as the new president, if they're sworn in, like literally goes, just starts reading him his Miranda rights in the middle of their inauguration speech. And you have the right to remain silent.
I know you're watching. Now look behind you. Oh, they're there for you.
No way. I am convinced that he's gamed this out, Chris. I shit you not. He's got a legal plan in place that he's going to challenge every state that whatever a Democrat wins, he's going to challenge every electoral vote. He will drag this out in court.
Yeah.
Trump is not. He will drag this out. This is going to court. Please believe that in November, no matter the result, this is going to court.
Okay.
And
I mean,
that's
I'm
how I
not-
know he's gonna. That's the closest to the kicking
That's
and
not
screaming
an
that we're gonna
unreasonable
get.
thing to
Yeah.
say.
There's no doubt. And I feel like now with the attorney general by his side, it's become very clear that that's
it's,
the game.
It's embarrassing.
It's going to be
dangerous.
embarrassing. It's going to be very dangerous. Oh, absolutely. But you cannot
That's why
tell me
I
he hasn't
say there's
gamed
no
that out.
middle. There's no room for middle ground.
No, there isn't.
There's no room to try and reason this out. Like
Like, he
I
didn't
saw,
have to-
I saw a discussion on this the other day when people describe themselves as moderate or centrist,
Right.
and that probably you shouldn't use moderate. You should use more centrist when describing
I agree.
political ideology,
I
because
agree.
moderate, and it might come from Martin Luther King, maybe where this kind of description came from. I'm not sure, but I thought that's what the thread I was reading was discussing. That moderate tends to be someone who is looking just to keep order,
Right.
and order even over justice.
Right.
They just
right.
want to, hey, let's
They just
not,
wanna beat,
yeah.
shake too many
Look,
tables.
Here's what I would say to you. You're not going back to the way it was. That's done.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
You have to let that go.
Yeah.
And you have to adapt and adjust
Yeah.
and move forward.
That's why I was-
there's no room for that anymore.
And that's why I
and
thought.
we're done with that.
and that's
if
why-
you can't see that,
Right.
I don't know what to tell you
Yeah.
because you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, the old days of doing business are well past.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're well past that.
very much so.
So that's
So if you're longing for the good old days, then get out my way, because you're of no use to me to try and further, where we're heading.
He said, "Get out my way."
Get out my way.
man, we still got like 9 months of this shit.
I know.
Shit.
Fascinating.
Shit. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the hell we gonna do.
Oh, he's gonna try and put people in jail. That's and if you can't come out and say bad things about that, then I don't know what to. Then that's
but
about
I think,
you.
but I think that's where, and then I think that's ultimately how it all plays out. It isn't just that Trump's doing this. It's what we expected. We're all making fun of Susan Collins today because she was the one that was, in front of the microphones telling the media that he's learned his lesson.
Well, no,
he's
it's-
gonna chill out. He's gonna relax. He knows better now. He saw what he did was wrong.
They're all
we
spineless
embarrassed
cowards.
him.
The
We
entire
spanked him on his
GOP
ham. Yeah, and
are
we're
spineless cowards.
oh, absolutely.
And
But I
their
think
supporters are cowards.
there
as
it is.
well.
Okay, there it is. I'm about
I
to say you
can
got to
say
go
it.
full circle. No,
What
yeah,
the fuck are they
absolutely.
gonna do to
Hey,
me?
you're right. But no, that's what I'm saying. You got to bring it full circle because I think that's the reason why
And no, that's
the
who
leaders
you are.
behave
That's
the
who
way
you
that they
truly
are.
are right now.
Right, I agree.
I hope you can change, but guess what? I don't want it in my government.
Right,
Take your shit elsewhere.
I agree.
Go become a lobbyist.
Take it
Try
to
and make your
Farmington.
money.
Take that shit to Farmington. That's a banana republic. Take that shit down
What are
there.
you saying?
Tradition meets progress. You want to talk about a centrist ass statement? Tradition meets progress. What does that mean?
Yeah, there's
You
no.
have a water tower, but you also have a TGI Fridays. What do you want to be?
Yeah.
The one restaurant they don't have.
Oh, damn, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Now you look like a fool.
Nah, I do
Travis.
like
you
an
just
idiot. I'm
you could have
sorry.
named 99.
Other ones in the TGI Friday.
Any one.
Applebee's.
Yeah.
Two of those
Yeah.
probably. Everybody's got two. Like,
Just
we
one.
got one. We got North Applebee's.
They've graduated
East
to
Applebee's.
2 Taco Bells and 2 McDonald's. So I
Yeah,
believe.
2 McDonald's. Okay.
That's how I knew O'Fallon was getting big as a youth.
You start
the
doing
second-
that.
There's 2
Oh,
McDonald's.
so we
now?
got options now.
Wait a
Wait,
minute.
one not right off Highway 70?
And that's when I knew Columbia was blowing up. When Columbia got that third McDonald's, I was like, oh shit.
The 4 corners of a town.
That's how you would measure where you were. Like, how many Super Walmarts are in Columbia? 4?
I was so fascinated
There used to be a shit ton.
by Columbia when I found out they had a KFC buffet. Like when I found
Had
that
an Emo's buffet,
I-
man.
do they still have?
I don't think they do, but they had an Emo's buffet in Columbia. Columbia had some. Hey man,
Hey, man.
there was some good times in the 2000s.
I saw that and
In
was
Columbia.
Like, oh my god!
We had good basketball and football teams. We were going to bowl games. We were going to Elite Eights, and then we was like, oh shit, we opened up. Oh, is that a White Castle? Is that a Hooters? Oh shit, we about to turn up. Is that a TGI Friday? When TGI Fridays came to Columbia, boy, it was like fireworks. There were fireworks at the opening.
It's like an IKEA opening here.
It was.
News helicopters hovering above.
You can't get this in the big cities.
I know.
You're never gonna get the reaction like this living in New York, LA.
That's why we are at Cowtown.
Except Shake Shack. When I saw Shake Shack in New York, I was like, y'all need to relax, New York. A place of amazing delicacies, and there's like Shake Shack. Like, relax.
You're acting like St. Louis.
Right. That's what I said. I was like, y'all acting like y'all from Missouri. Calm down.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't think New Yorkers would react that way.
But they love food. They like everybody else. I see some food. Ooh.
Pretty good.
Pretty tasty.
Did you see that WebMD tweet where they were talking about a guy who I guess like appeared drunk a lot and didn't drink alcohol.
Yeah, I saw this.
And
I
then
thought this was an older story.
it was, but it just got brought to light. You know how our internets work.
Yeah.
What is it? Probably 3 years from now, we'll be revisiting John Wayne's comments from the past.
Yeah.
So,
That's real.
so it's one of these. But the guy had the auto brewery syndrome or something like that, where like his organs were taking the carbohydrates and whatnot, and like you said, brewing and turning it into alcohol. And I was like, that's kind of scary, but also interesting. And I wonder if that's how I fall off the wagon one day. If I were to.
Your body's like, listen, you aren't giving us what we need.
Yeah.
We'll be
Where
taking
have
it
you?
from here.
Yes, we're adapting.
Yeah.
We're making adjustments. We know what we once had, and we want it back. And then there's a fight within me, a civil war within me.
It's a hell of a fight.
Yeah, we'll write a song about it one day.
Okay.
I just wanted to tell about food, and the thing popped in my head.
Did you guys get a chance to see the comments? They did a little story on Rebecca Black.
I saw
Friday
that
Girl.
was it 9 years yesterday?
9 years since the release of Friday. She penned a statement, and she just talked about how it affected her growing up. I just wish I could go back and talk to my 13-year-old self who was terribly ashamed of herself and afraid of the world. Since someone even made an even more interesting comment, like how she almost kind of gave birth indirectly to the quote-unquote influencer. And I think even one of the commentators said, I bet she's kind of pissed because something as simple as Friday, if it were to go viral now, she could probably be a multimillionaire. She probably could have, parlayed that into a financial success, but they essentially acknowledged that she kind of gave birth to it. Here's some of her statement, because I thought it was interesting, especially she was part of a very huge viral moment at the birth of social media, as social media was learning to explode. When we learned how things go viral and jump into the mainstream, she was one of the very first people to walk through that door. So I was very curious to hear her statement. This is what she says, Chris. 9 years ago today, a music video for a song called Friday was uploaded to the internet. Above all things, I just wish I could go back and talk to my 13-year-old self who was terribly ashamed of herself and afraid of the world, to my 15-year-old self who felt like she had nobody to talk to about the depression she faced, to my 17-year-old self who would get to school only to get food thrown at her and her friends, to my 19-year-old self who had almost every producer songwriter tell me they'd never work with me. Hell, to myself a few days ago who felt disgusting when she looked in the mirror. I'm trying to remind myself more and more that every day is a new opportunity to shift your reality and lift your spirit. You are not defined by any one choice or one thing. Time heals and nothing is finite. It's a process that's never too late to begin. And so here we go. This might be a weird thing to post, but the honesty feels good if nothing else. And she posted a picture of herself currently today, a lovely looking Rebecca Black, short hair, black dress, sitting on a bed. But I thought that was a very interesting statement, and I commend her for her honesty and courage. I can't imagine, 9 years ago, that young, blowing up, and adults are assholes, so I can only imagine some of the horrible things that they say to 18, 19-year-old girls. So I commend her courage for going through that and speaking out, speaking her truth. It's not easy. You blow up like that, you didn't expect to end up on the Today Show.
No.
You didn't expect to end up,
You
as a meme, as a viral video for everybody else to
now-
mock. You put it up, something silly, fun, and go to
Did you
school, and people just throw shit at you. That's not, sure, that sucks ass in high school.
That's not great.
That's just, I don't know.
What's the worst thing that's ever been thrown at you?
I haven't had anything thrown at me before. I'm not, I have, at least not towards me. I don't think anyone's ever I don't think anyone's ever thrown anything at me. I've always, of course, when I go to Blues games, people yell, "Blackfish!" It's probably the only thing I've gotten thrown at me was just the blackfish.
My brother threw a baseball at me
Jesus, Gardner.
when I had a broken
Well,
collarbone.
that sounds about right. You probably did something to deserve it.
He was just trying to do whatever. That's how we treated each other. It was fine. Food-wise, a hot dog maybe? I had a hot dog thrown at me
Did you
before.
know?
Yeah. I smarted off to someone about something. It's kind of a trend of mine.
It's kind of your trend. That's funny.
But those are the two things I can think of. Like one being food and one being just an object that was going to hurt when it hit me.
Let's go a little bit step further. What's the meanest thing an adult has ever said to you as when you were a child? What's the meanest thing an adult said to you?
That doesn't really stick out, but I do feel like it was much more like strangers would yell at other people's kids with much less impunity back then. Like there was a lot of
oh yeah, that was
there was a
definitely the
lot
truth,
of
yes.
like, what are you, a bad kid?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
your parents are like 2 feet away. I mean, what are you saying? It's like, well, he
See,
was
like-
that. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Within the family, we used to just try to mentally torture each other.
On purpose?
Yeah, that's
What was
where,
the-
where
what
I
was-
get this from dealing
what's,
with you.
What's the objective behind that?
Just for fun.
oh,
Like
and
my
that's
unc-
fun
my-
to people to
Well, like my
mentally
uncle
torture
had
them?
me convinced that I was adopted at one
Oh,
point.
that seems like that's inappropriate.
And then I ran to my mother crying.
Oh wow. You
So
should-
it's stuff like that.
That's
You try to be creative with some stories and get them to buy into it. Makes you mentally tougher, and then you also learn how to attack people mentally as you get older.
I should have known that's where that was going. That's my fault. I should have known that's where that was going. I can't. I've had strangers on the street say some mean shit to me as a kid.
I can't remember anyone doing like I remember. I'm sure somebody has. I mean, because I could smart off, and so I'm sure somebody, but it maybe just it didn't impact me enough to remember. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the worst things that's ever been said to me by an adult from a police officer.
What do you say?
That's why you motherfuckers always going to jail.
Was he white or black?
White.
Was he talking about your skin color?
Yes.
I did have a cop. I did have a couple incidents with police.
And this was like when I was in junior high.
I
when
won't-
heard a cop say that.
I
to
won't
us.
mention too many of
We
the
were in
people
junior
involved
high when
here.
that happened.
But there was an incident at the Del Taco.
Right off by
yeah,
Slough.
yeah,
Okay.
and the two cars involved. People probably shouldn't have been driving their cars.
Right.
But it's a city, and so that wasn't the biggest concern. There was an incident where one car bumped another, bumped the car I was in, and they did it on purpose. And maybe the driver of the car I was in got out and went and ripped the side view mirror off the other car.
Oh.
Mm.
And the police were called, and I just stayed in the car. And the police, this one guy, the older guy, was like, "Hey, can you move this car?" And I'm sitting and I go, "Nope," shaking my head. He's like, "No, just get out and move the fucking car." And I'm like, "I can't do that, officer." He's like, "Why can't you do it?" I go, "'Cause I'm drunk." And he's like, "What?" And he turns to us and goes, "This asshole says he's drunk." And so like I'm like, I'm not getting behind. Like I got some issues. I'm not. Last thing I need to do is back this car into the damn Del Taco, and then what we gonna do here? You're gonna tell him what you were asking me to move the car? Are we
Right.
gonna do this?
Right.
And so I refused to get into the car and move it. And so I got out. They put me against the wall while they were dealing with other people. And then one of the guys in the other car comes up to me and starts yelling at me and is like, "You saw what happened?" And I kept playing dumb of, "I didn't see anything. I just, so eventually I asked the police officer to get this guy out of my face or it was escalating. And he started calling me a fucking pussy and things like that. And so then I just started smiling some.
Oh boy.
And then
Oh,
my roommate
boy.
came and picked me
Oh
up.
boy.
And the cop was like, "Oh, I'm glad to see you. Get this motherfucker out of here," and this and that. And I turned around. It's become a classic line that my friends say to me from time to time. I turned to the officer and go, "Officer, you've been nothing less than genteel." And he just looked at me confused and goes, "Get the fuck out of here!" And I got in the car and left. So then every once in a while, friends of mine drop the line, "You've been nothing less than genteel."
Well, I don't think we're going to top that.
So that's a line that still gets thrown my way by friends because they're like, and my friend who picked me up, he's like, yeah, I don't know what he, like, Gardner, just get in the car. But I had to get that one last line in. Just, officer, you've been nothing less than genteel.
These are things I wish I could say. That's why I hate racism.
Yeah,
Because I want to say shit like that, but I can't.
Is that my white privilege?
That is.
Oh.
But that's a great way to use it.
Yeah.
If you're going to use your white privilege, saying that statement is what you should
Well,
do.
and because that line now lives on
It
with
does.
everyone.
That's a good line. I ain't going to lie.
Officer, you've been nothing less than genteel.
That is pretty good.
I was
That's-
drunk. I don't know where it came from.
Genteel. Great word. It's a great thing to say.
I'm like, why are you trying to make me drunk drive?
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh, we're not going to beat that. So big thanks to Gateway Powder Coating and all of our other wonderful sponsors here on the show. 2 more left with this crew together. The show will continue on, and it'll just be missing a big part of the soul.
Oh, boy.
We already lost its hair.
Chris is going off
We're going to
script.
do a recasting call on Friday.
Oh, what's the topic?
We are live. So, folks, get ready to recast We Are Live.
Awesome. All right, guys. We'll take a quick break. It's Chris Dimon, Travis Terrell. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Peace.
We'll be back in 24 hours. I've always wanted to say that.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah. All right. See you then.